right, a very good evening and welcome to Try Time with me, your host, Mohammed Abubakar. You remember, you can also participate in the conversation during the show. The hashtag is TryTimeKE. You can be part of the conversation during the show or even after the show. Now, after round 5 of games that were played over the weekend, the Kenya Cup takes a break. The first half of the season is over. We'll be taking a Christmas and New Year break before we come back for round 6 and carry on with the season. But before we start off with today's show, we've lined up an exciting one for you. I'd like to introduce my panelist, Benjamin Ayimba. You can extend my handshake to Lamin.
So it doesn't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. All right, karibuni sana, gentlemen. Round 5 of games last weekend. It was the last round before we take this break. Important results for some of the teams. Some other teams not getting the results they wanted. We'll start off with the first match that was live this weekend. That is Queens against Nondis. Queens taking this one 32-13. We'll start off with you, Benjamin.
Yeah, I think it's something we focused on in the last week, and it was evident that the Queens boys had done a lot of homework on Nondis, and it showed on the day. Yeah, a lot of resilience, a lot of pressure from the get-go, and it yielded a result.
Your reactions to that result, Lavin?
I think watching the game, what surprised me about Nondis especially was the first 3 games they've relied heavily on their forwards, who gave them a lot of the tries and a lot of momentum going forward. But against Kenya Harlequins, they were dominated in the scrum. Nondis couldn't catch their lineouts. And like Benja said, they did quite a bit of homework on them, because you find that the combination between Mabwa and Juma, Mabwa couldn't snipe at the base. He was kept at bay throughout. And I feel Queens could have gotten more tries, because remember, they spread the ball very well with the backs. But just a bit of passes not going to hand and a bit of knock-ons. And obviously that moment of madness from Monsando, trying to slam dunk instead of just scoring the try. Instead of just scoring the try. They put in a lot of pressure against Nondis in the first half. Second half they only scored 3 points, which is a testament to the good work that Queens are doing. Unfortunately for Nondis, they relied heavily on their forwards on the day. They did not work out. And they did not have a backup in the backs, because the backs were not giving them that good forward ball. And just my advice to Juma, as a number 10, if you're chasing the game, it does not do you any good when you kick away possession. You can do this when you're trying to play for territory, when the game is still a bit tight. But when you're chasing like a 20-point deficit, hapo ndo nasemanga mtaani, kufa dereva kufa makanga. You throw everything at it, you throw the ball from wherever, just try to reduce the points.
Benjamin, I was at the Den. I saw you just before kickoff, and you were telling me our boys are going to run today. Yeah, because you were scoring those tries for fun in the first half.
Because it was very evident that Nondis did not have any other alternative other than the scrum. And what we did is, in the week, that's all we did. Because our backs usually would run without much effort. So it was just to make sure that they couldn't get even a whiff in the scrums at all.
Lavin, the setup from Nondis, I mean, like you said, they're used to the scrum a lot. I mean, it's what they've been using the first 5 rounds. Anything different they can do going forward now?
Well, I don't know what has happened within the first 3 weeks, because I'm comparing them to the likes of KCB, who have been known to have a dominant scrum. And remember the game they played against KCB, they scored tries off the scrum. So it's just a matter of technique. I don't know what happened on the day, but you saw Steve, their number 8. The first few games he was really comfortable playing with a scrum that's going forward. But when he was put on the back foot, he did not handle the ball well at the base of the scrum. As a number 8, you should be able to gauge by the first scrum. You know whether you have a dominant scrum or you need to work with scraps. And unfortunately on the day he was working with scraps and he couldn't make anything out of it. So I think for Coach Foxy, it's just about going back to the technique that worked for you for the first 3 weeks at least. And just get that. Because we talked about Nondis not being the biggest set of forwards, but they have really good technique. They have the good technique like the Oilers. But on the day, I think just Queens just did their homework on them and they had no alternative.
I think they never expected to have any bad ball from the scrum on the day. So what happened is they still relied on the scrum. And when things went bad, nobody took leadership to change how things were done. Maybe because they've not trained to work with when things go the opposite way. So it was It was a testament that they need to work on a little more than just relying on what they're strong at.
Queens had scored 29 points before half-time. Only 3 in the second half. Do you think it was tired legs, or you guys just told them to take your foot off the gas a little bit?
You know, sometimes you can't control what the players want to do. And you saw, like Lavin said, a lot of opportunities coming that we would have scored. There's a loose knock-on, there's a kicked ball, there's too much loose play at some point. Then, of course, our good madman, Mike, also diving as if he was going to the Olympics diving competition and losing the football. So those kind of things you can't control. But the fact that we had secured a good 5 points with a bonus, it was good enough.
Definitely. All right, let's have a listen to what the coaches had to say after that match.
We just came to the party a bit late. We didn't execute on what we had decided to do. At the beginning of the game, we talked about defense being everything that's going to win us the game today. Unfortunately, the boys just didn't wake up early enough. Definitely, if you look at it in the second half, Queens only scored 3 points. Yeah, and those are the things we're talking about. We had a plan, we didn't execute. So, unfortunately, in the game of rugby, you can never come from behind. Well, it's a bit harder when you're coming from behind.
Very pleasing result. Good early Christmas present, I guess, from the boys. They played really well, especially in the first half. Again, the second half, as I've told you before and I've been saying, is a bit of our concern also, because we only put in 3 points at the end. I think the boys just got a bit complacent and carried away because the score, I think we had blown Nondis off the park. But kudos to the boys who played really well. A tough pitch, tough conditions to play at 2 o'clock, but they did well, and now it's just to enjoy the break.
All right, Lavin, your reactions to Charles?
I think what Charles says is very important, because there's the element of complacency kicking in, especially in the second half. Because the thing about when you have a big lead as a coach and as a technical bench, you want to give some of your bench players an opportunity to run onto the field. Now, this could have 2 effects. It could either diminish the quality of the game, or it could raise it a notch higher. Now, it was just lucky for them on the particular day they had that big points cushion. It's not always going to be like that. But I think for them, he did the work in the first half. Complacency in the second half, which is something that is clearly pointed out is a problem this season. Something that they need to really work on. Because it's not all games that you'll have that big lead.
Exactly.
And especially going into the playoffs and going to the later stages of the competition, you really need to be switched on for 80 minutes. It's not over until the proverbial fat lady sings, as they say.
You know, Coach Benjamin, you know Coach Willis very well. Do you think the boys let him down in this particular game, or maybe how we approach it?
I think the boys' leadership is what let them down mainly. It's not because they don't have the personnel to do the job. It's just them adapting to the competition that they had on the day. I think for him, having a system and the boys relying too much on what works as opposed to what if it doesn't work, that's where the problem was. But I think the leadership in the field ought to have taken precedence on the day.
Apart from it being a Ngong Road derby, how big a win is this one going into the break for Queens?
It's massive because already it puts us at number 4 in the table. So that's a massive gain from where we were initially when the season started, when you had that mishap and losing to Oilers, who now everybody is realizing is not a walk in the park.
All right, that was the first game that was live on Saturday on Bamba Sport Live and Free. The second one was between KCB and Homeboys. KCB taking this one 34-15. Very quickly again, your reactions, Lavin, on this result?
Well, looking at how the game started, it's a typical quote-unquote championship game, because you find when the game started, there was a bit of playing for territory, just trying to kick for possession, field possession, and also just trying to put the opponents under a lot of pressure. But I think KCB, they've shown why they're the team to beat, because they played this game, they are very tactical in this particular game. One thing that I've noticed about their forwards play especially, that they've added to their arsenal, is the offload game. Because you see, they're not easily going into the traditional play the ruck. There's quite a bit of interplay. You see the Oliver Mangeni and also Muita in the second row is just playing a bit of interplay, and that's how Billy Sabwa went over for the try. And also just a big shout out to Billy Sabwa walking back to come from injury. Because as an athlete, one of the things that is most dreaded is the injury. And the thing that I noticed about the Homeboys, what they were doing is, on the line out, they were not contesting when KCB had the ball. Probably just to negate the strength that is a mole from KCB. And when they had, it was their line out, they were going really quickly.
Yeah.
Because obviously they were alive to the fact that Muita and Oliver present a threat at the 2 and the 4 ball. Yeah. So I think they played really well, and hence the score after 80 minutes.
After 80 minutes. Your thoughts on this one, Benjamin?
Yeah, it was a tough game. As Lavin said, initially it was just about testing who's come to the park with what on the day. So first 25 minutes, typical, finding the ground, mainly kicking and stuff. But again, there's been a lot of improvement in how KCB are playing the football now. As even what is on the screen, you can see the forwards interplaying a lot, and that gives the backs a good setup. What happened is Homeboys also did not think that they're going to run the ball on the day, and therefore when the forwards had the ball, they expected to go into the tackle and to clear the rack and defend from the rack. That wasn't happening. So their defense game did not look as good because they're all over the place. And I think for me it was a beautiful game from KCB. Homeboys, of course, improving bit by bit when the boys have returned, and let's see what the season holds for them.
I also want to ask, because in the second half, in the 51st minute, Homeboys closed the gap again, and it looked like it was game on before they lost it and conceded 2 tries and 2 conversions in like the space of 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think when you come to this games of this level, you really have to be switched on throughout. Because, like you said, those 2 quick tries and the score doesn't reflect the actual game.
Yes.
But I think all credit to KCB. They were very solid in their defense. And, you know, I only realized in second half that Brian Wandera was actually that game. Which shows you what they were doing in terms of starving them of the ball. I only saw Leon Adongo chasing kickoffs, and he was nowhere to be seen. When Jeff Oloch came in the second half, they were really, really shutting him down. So they really did their homework on their defense line. And I think on the day, unfortunately, Homeboys did not have a fallback plan in terms of their game plan. You say when the tries they scored were individual brilliance from Moha, just against the run of play. And you see for KCB, when all else fails, you have your game plan to fall back on. And that's why I believe it carried them throughout the 80 minutes. They really played championship rugby on the day.
Benjamin?
They're definitely the championship side, and you can tell by how they secure the set pieces. They're very keen to be sharp on the scrums and lineouts. They rarely lose those set pieces. 2, I think Homeboys also need to stop standing and waiting for the football, especially for the wingers. Brian Wandera and Leon Adongo are very big boys. If they leave their stations and go and look for the football in the midfield, they should be able to make breaks because they're good runners. But if they wait for the ball and the ball is never getting to them, then as Lavin says, you only see them in the second half, and sometimes just chasing ghosts.
What has been the difference between the KCB that was playing without their key players, their first team players, and the KCB that you saw this Saturday, Lavin?
I think especially in the back 3, you can see a lot of reading of the game. Because you see, in as much as Darwin was playing at number 15, he easily slotted into the number 10 position on the second or the third phase. And in terms of playing for territory, he was the one actually leading from the front. So you can see the level of maturity, and that comes with experience, obviously, playing for the Simbas and having played for KCB for a while. Obviously, so solid under the high ball. If you saw the conditions of the pitch were not the best, but he was very solid. And then in the forwards, I mean, Waiteri at number 8 had a field day because he had a dominant forward. You have the tight 5 putting in the hard work, and that's why you can see he could score a pushover try. So for them, you could really tell that the more experienced players who turned up for the Simbas, they are a very welcome addition onto this Simba side. And even having the likes of Andrew Amonde coming straight from our wedding and to come and impact.
Doing the job.
Doing the job at the back row.
Just tells you a lot.
It tells you a lot about the depth of the squad and the quality of players that they have.
All right, let's have a listen to what the coaches had to say after this one.
We started a bit slow. We got a bit leggy. I think our set pieces weren't good. I think it's just going back to the drawing board and trying out new combinations of what we can come up with next year. At the moment, we're currently dealing with a lot of injuries. So we lost one of our experienced locks, and we've lost, I think, 3 more in the previous games, including the props. So it took us back. So we had to do a makeshift scrum, but I don't know. We'll have to work on that, and I think develop a couple of guys for the new year that's coming up.
We played well, but we gave them a lot of get out of jail free cards, and that is what we are looking to close down beginning of next year. We are giving guys a lot of out of jail free cards. I mean, it's terrible. It's always good to calm guys down once they're bringing a lot of pressure. It's just to calm them down so that the game can continue. So it's good game management from the boys. I mean, yeah.
All right, quick reactions from Benjamin before we move on with the other results.
I think we said it earlier, when Curtis will get all his boys from Simbas and from all the other commitments, Kenya team commitments, you see a lot more composure.
Yeah.
That having said that, the seniors, the Andrew Mondes, the back three especially, OJ now were really taking a lot of time to make decisions, to make proper decisions, as opposed to very hurried ones. And okay, they jail out cards that Curtis speaks about. Maybe they were forced errors, because I think at that point where they lost the ball and Homeboy scored, it was a very juvenile error. So maybe Homeboys ought to have read from that, and give them a lot more pressure. But I don't think they read that in good time to be able to give them the due pressure that they required. So kudos to Curtis. His boys are back, and now you can see the cool heads in the field, and they made decisions that were very, what we call decisions of Baba.
Decisions of Baba. For Simon, he has mentioned it, losing players he needs to work on.
Yes, and Simon's case is quite unique. For me, I think maybe we asked for too much, thinking that they would have the same depth that they had in the last few seasons. And of course, he's trying to blood in the newer players that he's worked with in the second team, because the seniors, like he says, there's an average of about 7 players who are sitting out. Senior players of Homeboys are sitting out. So maybe it's the time he needs to bleed in these younger players and see how well he can form a team of his own as a head coach.
All right, let's move on with the other results across the country in the Kenya Cup. After 5 rounds, Kabras are the only team that is yet to lose this season, beating Impala by 42-10. Impala was the other team that had a perfect run going into this game. What did you make of that result? You guys saw it coming, I remember, last week.
I think up until this Impala game, Kabras have met, quote-unquote, lower teams on the table.
Yeah.
So I think Impala was the real acid test, but clearly, based on the score, it wasn't a test. I wonder if it rained in the second half.
It probably did.
Probably did. But like we said, it's never easy traveling to Kakamega and taking on Kabras. I'm really interested to see the squad that Impala Saras has put out, because that's a gauge of the squad that they want to go forward with. Unfortunately for them, they didn't get anything in terms of bonus point. Traveling all the way to Western kutoka Bure, it's painful.
It's painful.
Yeah.
And another team with another result we'd like to talk about, unless you had something to say, Benjamin.
No. I think it was inevitable that Impala were going to get a drubbing at Kabras.
Mwamba.
They have a pretty young side.
Mwamba Menengai Oilers. Mwamba just going around with their business.
I think we must have infected Nondis with the first half syndrome, because so because just like the previous game, Mwamba went into the half leading this particular game. And one thing that I cautioned them about is the solid forwards of the Oilers, which I think Mwamba dealt with very well. Mwamba, obviously, we're happy to have Collins Injera back after the stint with the Shujaz.
Yeah.
So I think Mwamba, that's a good present for the coaching staff, at least going into Christmas. It's been a tough 3 weeks, but at least 2
But exactly what I wanted to say. 2 wins in a row for you guys, and you wish this break didn't come this soon.
Well, yes and no, because we have 1 or 2 injuries that we want to work on maybe during this 2-week break. But I think definitely Mwamba is it's at a good place. Let's see where we are in January.
Benjamin?
This lethargy of new teams. Remember what you said earlier on?
Yeah.
And now you can see it very clearly. The boys who played championship rugby are now coming to fore. And just that one difference of having Collins Injera being the general in the field makes a huge difference in how decisions are made. And now you can see that the Oilers are actually feeling the weight of real seasoned footballers. So it might be not a bad thing totally, but and like I said, it is at this point that you realize that the championship is not won on the first 2 or 3 games. You've got to go the whole hog.
Last but not least, the exact opposite of Cabra's Strathmore, Leos, recording 0 wins.
I'm worried for Leos and more specifically for Johnny because Johnny and I go way back. And I know the philosophy that Johnny has. Johnny has the philosophy of giving everyone a chance. You're given your chance based on your merit. It does not matter what name you are. If you don't train, you don't play. And unfortunately for Johnny, he's in a position where he's working with a relatively new squad. The thing I'm worried about is Johnny has played the teams that he would be expected to win, and he's lost. So he hasn't played I don't know if he's played Cabras, but the top 6 teams, he's still yet to meet them in January. So I'm really worried for Leos where they are, based on the fact that last season, they were actually in the playoff spots. I know he lost a few players, but you need to pick up points. At least after the next fixture, because they're playing Mwamba. I don't want them to pick up points.
Mwamba.
So, Apple friendship in a car.
Pick after Mwamba. Pick points after Mwamba.
But are you concerned as well, Benjamin?
Very concerned. I think this would have been a boost going into the break. And of course, Black Blood also coming tails up, knowing that is a scalp they could claim. And when you discussed this last time, we said that's what the university derbies are going to be. It's somebody feeling that this is a scalp I'm going to claim. Unfortunately for Johnny, having lost players with his good philosophy, and I think it is really good to give the chance to those that deserve it, it's not really working. So having gone through the teams that he has and not picked the points that are really crucial, it's going to be very difficult from the second half.
Definitely. All right. Those were round 5 of games, the results. Remember, round 6 will be in January next year. We'd like to take a look at the standings, what these results mean for the standings, and also take a look at all these teams and their progress so far, these first 5 games, the first half of the season. But very quickly, how that table looks like, taking shape, Benjamin?
Yes, it's now, you can now tell what's happening. Homeboys is in very, very unfamiliar territory. Mwamba definitely climbed to where they need to be. We'll definitely see them going a little higher. And of course, Nondis, it has started raining upon them. So they'll find themselves in the where they really are, with all respect. So it's now taking shape. It's 5 games in, and now we can tell who the championship, the season championship players are, teams are, and it's as you can see with the points differences, right from the number 6 going down, it's negatives. And of course, Impala having been there with negative 15.
Exactly. I wanted to ask, because if you look at Impala, they're one of the teams that had gone 4 out of 4 after round 4.
Yes.
But right now they look catchable by these other teams.
That's the danger point we're talking about, because they didn't pick up any bonus point, be it a loss or a win bonus. And at negative 15, all they need to do is lose another 2 games and they probably will drop to number 9. Yes.
Like Benja said, the Homeboys are in unfamiliar territory. I'm not sure about Simon and his rebuilding, because he needs to get those injured players back real quick, because come January, games will be coming thick and fast. I think Nondis, after their 3 wins and their awards dinner, my cat went away with the rest of the wins. That's on a light touch. But I think just based on the fact that they're still in the top 6, that's something positive going into Christmas. Strathmore Leos, obviously, we've talked about them, not somewhere you would want to be. Oilers, so far, doing well for themselves, because they are the team that has been newly promoted. Machine has been there. The table is picking shape. Mwamba, I want you to be more than 7th, because you see, ikifika Malia, someone having to drop out, points difference also don't favor us that much. But for Impala, like we mentioned earlier, if they're to go into the playoffs, they're definitely not going on points difference. They just have to win it.
We'd like to talk about Nakuru as well, because we've not been talking a lot about them. They're lying 6th right now, but they're one of the team, the first team that starts with negatives in terms of the difference there. What do they have to do if they want to keep pushing up?
I think for them it's just a do-or-die situation now. When they open the season, they must open the season with a win and with a decent. I don't know who they play in the first game of the season, but they need to open the season with the second part of the season with a win for them to have a competitive chance. Nakuru, having lost quite a few players, younger players, to the newly promoted brothers, Menengai Oilers, have lost quite a bit of depth that they've built over the years. So for them, they'll have to rely on their history and those seasoned players that they've had to win that at least the first game of the season, the second half of the season. For
Black Blood, would that be a position you thought you'd see them after five rounds?
Yeah, I think
above the likes of Strathmore and...
Yeah, Black Blood, definitely they were never going to be in the relegation battle. Yeah. At least that's in my opinion. I mean, it's still early, we're just 5 games in.
Yeah.
But for them, that's a comfortable position, quote unquote, because they're just above their peers. The jury is still out on whether Black Blood against Nondi's head-to-head, who is better. But I think Nondi's, based on the more experience they've had in the Kenya Cup and the success they've had. But Black Blood also has produced quite a number of players who've joined other clubs. We've seen Nondis have benefited from Black Blood. Mwamba, for the longest time, have benefited from Black Blood. So I think for them, based on where they are, I think it's good for them. At least they are not in that. They don't have to worry about relegation as of now. And getting scalps off the other teams, I think for them, I mean, that's a comfortable position, at least going into Christmas. Just
now the fact that we are done with the first half of the season, we'd like to just go through all these teams and their forms in the first 5 rounds. We'll start off with Cabras, of course, the only team that has 5-0 so far. Did you expect this, and when will they get that first loss, do you think?
Well, Cabras, for Cabras, it is not expected for them to lose, like I said. They're the only fully professional side, so there's no excuse for them to lose. And we only expect them we only expect somebody to have a go at them during the playoffs. And maybe if they slip up and lose the odd game, they'll still be quite safe, given that they've had five wins from the 5 games they played. And as Lavin said, they've only started playing the tougher teams in the league right now. So Impala should have been a good test, but as we have seen, the result does not show that. But the other teams are going to really go hard at them. And I hope they know, the new coach knows what to expect from the other teams, because I think having played those teams, he might be getting a bit complacent in how he prepares his team. But of course, we've got people like Ogot, they're assisting, who knows how the other teams are. So I hope he listens to what Ogot tells him, the caution he gives him, because there are 3 or 4 teams that they've not played now that if they're a little complacent, they'll lose against.
Do you think they'll be caught, Cabras?
I mean, yes, because Cabras at the moment, based on history, they still lost to KCB in the finals. So I think KCB still are the team to beat. But Cabras, so far, they're doing well for themselves. It's good momentum because you pick the wins where you need to pick them, and the points difference, they've been piling them on. So meaning something is working for them. Like Bench has said, going into January, they'll be facing a tougher opposition, at least in the top 4, top 5. But so far, so good for them. I mean, whatever they're doing there, it's working for them.
All right. Because of time, gentlemen, we like just to do these things in brackets. We have the 4-1 team, like 4 wins, 1 loss. Impala, KCB. Would you have imagined those 2 teams who will have 4 wins, 1 loss?
Not for Impala. KCB was expected. Actually, KCB, I'd expect KCB to be 5-0.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
by now.
Yeah, Impala. And up until they decide on who they want to be their regular, I think 4-1 is a good start for them.
It's a good start,
especially having played away in Kakamega.
All right, 3-2. There's a long list here. Queens, Nondis, Nakuru. 3 wins, 2 losses. Fair for those teams?
I didn't expect Queens to have 2 losses, honestly, because the Oilers lost. I didn't expect it. I predicted they would lose against KCB just based on the fact that KCB are the defending champions. So
the other loss was more shocking.
Yeah, it was more shocking.
So you should have been in the 4-1.
But I think it was a good wake up call. And early in the
season. Very well said. The 2 and 3s, 2 wins, 3 losses. Mwamba, Homeboys.
Mwamba,
not expected at all, to be honest.
I think for Homeboys it was unexpected. I'm not saying I expected it from Mwamba, but the person Munyalipanga fixtures clearly has something against us. But you know what? If you want to win, you have to play against us.
I remember you did say that you might start a little bit slow, but then you usually pick up.
Yes, but
really
unfortunately it works against you when you're going towards the playoffs, because you need to really pick wins when you can. But for Homeboys, definitely they need to do something. Hata kama Simon atawachomea mbuzi during Christmas, but they really need to
pick up. To catch up.
Yeah.
They need to catch up. And you guys are facing each other, is it? The next round?
Well,
it was Strathmore.
We're playing Strathmore.
Round 6.
Yes.
Yeah. Very quickly, 1-4. Oilers have 1 win, 4 losses. Mean Machine also have 1 win, 4 losses. Your take on those, on their form?
I think for Oilers, it was more or less expected because the new boys in there. In fact, the win they got was a very important win because it was against one of the quote-unquote big teams. So for that, it was good momentum for them, only for them to realize it is not a walk in the park out here. So it was good that they got that win because it gives them impetus going into the second half of the season, knowing that they can actually claim a scalp. So that for them was perfect. What is it that is 4-1?
1-4.
1-4.
Mean Machine. The chairman was very categorical in them coming to mold people in the Kenya Cup. So I think for him it is cooler here.
It's cooler here.
Yes.
Right back at you. we did talk about Strathmore earlier. They are the only team with no win. So
definitely not expected. Based on the last season's performance, I did not expect
Not
this.
expected.
I never expected it.
Never expected it. Which teams do you think they'll come back stronger and rejuvenated in the second half of the season? Just in terms of, but by your guts and seeing how they're going to work on.
I think Homeboys, because they've realized that they're out of the playoff spots, they need to pick themselves up. Definitely they'll come back at least stronger. I don't know what they'll do in terms of their injuries, because they need to find something real quick. For Mwamba, I think Mwamba are now finding their
rhythm and
they have players that they are gelling well, and I think they've gotten over the thing about playing catch-up rugby, which has been a major sore spot for them in the first 3 games. So I think those two, I would really love for Strathmore to come back because it makes the league more competitive.
Yes.
But if they don't come back at least the first 3 games in January, unfortunately Johnny will be looking at a relegation battle.
Oh man!
I actually think it is just the first game. It doesn't have much time, because if he comes into the first game
against the
if he comes into the first game and loses, he's definitely at a very dangerous spot. Because anybody else, because we are, as Harlequins, we've not played them, and having been stung by Oilers, we don't want Jizom Chezo around. So we're really looking to get the points that we threw away to Oilers.
Very quickly, aside from Cabras KCB, which is obvious, Nondi's, Queens, Nakuru, do you think there's a lot that's going to change there in terms of top 6 position?
Nondi's, yes. Nondi's will probably lose a few more games. Nakuru will definitely pick up. Yes.
Can you speak for Queens?
I think I'll be biased when I speak about Queens.
Yeah, I think Queens at the moment they have a good mix with the backs and the forwards. So definitely I see their performance getting more solid and more regular. The only thing I'd challenge them obviously is just to try to get consistent wins against the teams like KCB, Homeboys, and Impala, the Ngongoro Derby, because definitely I'm seeing them picking up. They started off slowly, but they're picking up.
So we're definitely looking at a good battle there from around 8th.
Yes, 6th. I think Queens definitely top 4 is a target for them, and that's very achievable. At least based on the last season's record. At least now they have Benja. Who can teach them a thing or 2, including dressing.
All right, gentlemen, that time has come where we have to wrap it up. We will be meeting again, this lineup, next year. Exactly 2 weeks after the new year, when the Kenya Cup will be coming back. Guys, happy holidays.
Yeah, hoping the producer is planning something.
Planning some
pocho.
I think in the new year I'll go and shop for more half coats.
I think the look, Mohamed's look is really good.
You
should get a few more.
I've used up all my coats, but when people replay the episodes, they're like, you don't even understand.
Half coat show. All right, gentlemen, happy holidays. And of course, we extend our holiday greetings to you as well. We'll be meeting again next year in January, right here, preparing for round 6. Until then, keep it sporty.